my good friend Simon Bray rarely comes to Saratoga, but he has come this weekend and graced us with his presence. You all know Simon, of course, from TVG, and Simon and I work together. Simon, how you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. Good to be here. Good to be back. I was here week 2, but obviously I'm based in California most of the year, but I'm happy to be back here.
Todd Rupp, very jealous that you were invited and he wasn't.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
He invited himself to next week.
I understand why you haven't had him on. I really do.
You have to work with him.
I do. Just sit next to him.
Who's hated more, do you think, me or Todd?
It's pretty close.
It's got to be a horse race,
Yeah,
right?
we'll go down to the steward's room, I think.
Seems to be pretty close. It is funny how, you hear stories in racing about this guy's a terrible guy and that guy's like my current boss and your ex-boss, Tony Alavato, who I love working with Tony, but until I went to work with him, everybody told me he's the worst person in the world.
Oh, he's the greatest. He's the greatest person to work for.
Right,
yeah.
Right. He's great.
Yep.
And he's as obnoxious as I am, but he's fun to work with. So how you feeling? We'll talk.
Really good, actually. Yep, healthy, back working at full speed.
Now, for the one person out there who doesn't know, Simon suffers from multiple myeloma. How's it going with that?
Good. I just had a huge checkup about 10 days ago. So I was waiting for those results. I got them just before I came here, and everything is perfect. So we're good in that department. Yeah.
Explain to people that don't know what it is. We have somebody that came actually to tonight's show and drove a long way just to meet you that suffers from the same disease.
Yeah, I'm going to catch up with this young gentleman I was talking to before the show. His father got diagnosed with multiple myeloma. I won't harp too long on it to bore you, but basically it's a cancer of the blood in the bone marrow. I didn't know what it was. I was diagnosed 2 years ago. I'm a workout nut, so I work out like 4 or 5 days a week. One day I was in the gym. And
like me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was lifting some weights, and I bent down, and I heard this massive snap, and it was my back just snapped in two, literally. And after getting misdiagnosed and walking around for 2 weeks, I was finally diagnosed with a broken back. I thought that was bad enough, and then came to find out it was cancer that caused it. So turned the page after months of chemotherapy, a stem cell transplant, and I'm still undergoing chemotherapy, but it's only pills. Keeps it suppressed and knocked down, but... The one thing I will say that I've learned through all of this, being healthy when it happened, absolutely helped me fly through it. Because there were people in the hospital with me that weren't, they were fighting 3 things. I was only fighting 1. But even my doctor to this day said I never underwent physical rehab. I had a 7-hour reconstructive back surgery. And I was walking 2 miles a day, like 6 days after it. So if there's one piece of advice I can give everyone, just stay healthy in case something bad happens. Because believe me, it pays off.
Well, we're glad that you're healthy.
Yeah.
And we're so glad to have you here tonight. And I think it's good that you've brought, a lot of attention as well to the disease, and you really have.
I try to. I'm not shy about it. I discuss it with everybody that I see. I raised a lot of money for a group called the MMRF, Multiple Myeloma Research Foundation. Unfortunately, there's no cure for my cancer right now. They just keep it suppressed. But there's a lot of big things going on. I attend a lot of fundraisers, and do a lot of work with C. I hope the hospital I attend in California, it's one of the leading hospitals for multiple myeloma and one of the leading research hospitals in the world. So believe me, for those people that, if you know anyone with it, there's big things coming in the next 5 years. So.
Yeah, we talked about it when I was in California last year. On other topics, so you're mostly in Del Mar. I mean, it's rare to come to Saratoga. Is it tough to read Del Mar? Is it nice to come visit us for a few days?
I like to come, because everyone asks that question, right? What's better, Del Mar and Saratoga? You can't compare it.
It's not a competition.
You've been there. You came last fall, remember?
They're both wonderful places.
Yeah, they're different in their own right. Yeah, exactly. So, I spend a lot of time in Del Mar. I did, when I was working for Bill Martin as assistant trainer, I spent some time up here in Saratoga. So I like to get my fix of both places. So.
Saratoga, I think, is more of the town, too.
Correct.
The beauty of Saratoga and racing for so many of us is being able to come downtown and appreciate everything. Saratoga is a 24-hour a day. If you want to get up early and see the horses in the morning, there's something going on at all times involved the racetrack. What years did you actually work for Mott that you came up to Saratoga?
So I came from England in 1990, end of 92, and I worked for Bill from 93 to 99. I was up here at Saratoga about 94, 93, 94.
So, you weren't in Saratoga those other years when you were? Where were you during the meet?
Because then I started right at the bottom as a hall walker groom all the way up to assistant trainer. So when I got to assistant trainer, I just stayed. I was the guy left behind in New York in the wintertime.
Really? Oh, you were in the winter in New York?
Yeah.
Really?
3 years, yeah.
Well, it's not, it's underrated
Yeah,
in the winter at Aqueduct.
Right.
So Bill Mott said something very funny to you when he hired you, right? About how much you were going to be working.
Yeah, I've said this line a lot. Can you imagine? I was a young, fresh-faced English person just getting off the boat, coming out of an English winter where it was dark. There's like 8 hours of daylight, and I landed in Miami, and I saw palm trees. I was like, oh, this is great. The track was 2 miles from the beach. So I walk up to Bill. I'd already knew that I was working for him. He goes, Simon, look, believe me, this job is so easy. You only have to work half a day. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, 5 to 5. The other half is all yours.
So when you went to work for Bill, that's like right around when cigar sort of emerged,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. So, I was there through the whole cigar campaign. And I specifically remember the day that he ran that first of that streak on the dirt
at Aqueduct.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
November day.
And I actually saddled the horse in the cigar mile because Bill was saddling Fraser in the Japan Cup.
Really?
So, yeah.
That was a great. Do you remember who won the Remsen that day?
I don't.
Thunder Gulch.
That's
First
right.
time for Wayne Lucas won the Remsen, the race before Cigar had that big breakout win.
Yeah.
Now, did you go down to Florida after that, or were you still stuck in New York?
No, I was still stuck in New York. Yeah.
I was in Florida in the winter. It makes you feel any better. Yeah.
I wasn't. I was stuck in New York.
So did you go to Dubai with him?
No, I didn't because I'd been at Belmont, heading up the Belmont stable, so I didn't travel much with him. I was based with him in New York for all the time he was there. I went to Massachusetts for one trip with him, but most of the time I was in New York.
What's it like working for Bill?
It's great. Believe me, everything I learned in horse. I had the fortune of working for Henry Cecil in England, who trained the great Franco. So what I considered worked for the two greatest horsemen on both sides of the Atlantic. Bill is an unbelievable horse trainer, and I mean, it's fifth sense to him. It's very hard to learn from him because he does it by feel, and a lot of good trainers do that. Franco was the same. Henry Cecil was the same. But if you just watch and observe, it's basically like going to Harvard to be a horse trainer. He's unbelievable. You got to work though. I mean,
I'm sure
5 to 5. He didn't tell me the truth. It was 5 to 9. It was. Yeah.
Not a surprise. He's a hardworking guy. You don't. Nobody gets that successful in that business without working extremely hard.
Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't matter who the horses are. You've got to work hard.
Well, a trainer has many caps, but I think one of the things we tend to make it a little more difficult than it is. You've either got it or you haven't. But one of the primary things you need to do is just pay attention, because horses can't talk to you, so you have to watch them day to day to see if there's any changes, and you only do that by being there day in, day out.
And when you left Bill Mott, you started training for Alan Paulson, who of course Bill trained for as well, right?
Yeah, that was a sticky situation.
Was it?
Yeah. So what happened? Alan Paulson he lived in Del Mar. He owned the Del Mar Country Club, and he after Cigar got
Your worst coworker just walked by, Frank Lyons.
Oh, there he is.
He comes in, boo.
But it's a bigger crowd than when Frank was here, for sure.
Much bigger.
Yeah. So when...
there he is, Frank Lyons.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. There he is. Yeah.
Grab a drink, Frank.
Yeah. Or 3.
So when... after Cigar got beat in the Pacific Classic, Alan Paulson says, I want a string of horses out here because I live out here. So Bill was reluctant to do it because he was based in New York. Saratoga was his focus, but... He said, why don't you go out there, Simon? I'll send 6 horses out. We just went out with 6 horses, but they were hand-picked. We won, I think, 9 races. And then the following year, we had 12 horses and won 18 races. It was crazy. It was unbelievable.
Who are some of the better horses?
We had Dowdy, who was second in the Classic. Had a huge number behind Skip Away, third in the Classic. And we ran him on the grass. He won a couple of stakes, a filly. We had a Cena, who won the Distaff. She won the Ramona, which is a great one.
But they were still for Bill, not for you.
Yeah, they were for Bill. And then at the end of the second summer I was there, I was approached by Alan Paulson to train for him. And 12 hours later, I promise you this is true. Do you remember Thoroughbred Court, Prince Salman?
Sure, of course.
Yeah, I was approached by his representatives to train for him. Yeah,
because Baffert trained for him. Right?
Exactly, and they wanted a private.
Point given, of course.
Yeah, so I had these 2 offers in 12 hours. It was unbelievable. I thought I was getting on a plane and just going back to New York. This all came out of the blue.
So you didn't train for both, did you?
No,
I trained for one.
I didn't know what to do, and I thought, well, just stick with what I know. I knew the Paulsons. I trained, I've been around their horses, the families, and I knew what their plan was. So I told Thoroughbred Court no. That didn't go down very well.
Because they don't train Point Given.
Yeah, they don't like to. Or and Knees I could have trained probably.
Yeah. Knees. Won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, never won again, right?
But they don't like no very often, so that didn't go down very well. And then I accepted the job with Paulson, but the biggest problem I had then was having to tell Bill, because he had no idea what was going on.
Were you taking all the Paulson horses?
No, I was taking
just the California strain.
A select group that were down in Ocala, Florida. I was allowed to choose 30 yearlings.
Bill likes to share the horses, so it probably went over really well.
So I said to Alan Paulson, I said, so you've cleared this with Bill? And he's like, no, that's your job. This was day one. So I just remember at the end of the Del Mar meet, I picked up the phone, and I was so terrified of calling because, I mean, it's awful. So I let it ring once, and I hung up. I let it ring twice, I hung up. And the person I was with at the time, I said, the only thing I don't want to do is call when his wife or his family are around, because I don't think that's a good idea. So I called, and I let it ring, and he picked up, and I could hear him in the car driving. And he said, he's very monosyllabic.
Right.
Simon, Bill, I need to talk to you. Okay, go ahead. He thought one of the horses were hurt. I said, are you driving? He goes, yeah. I said, I think you better pull over. And he goes, hang on, Tina's in the car. That's his wife. I like, oh, no. So I was trying to think of, is there something I could tell him just to get out? But I went ahead and told him, and he goes, okay, we'll talk later, and that was it.
Right.
But, I mean, we're good friends this day. He talks and texts and always see him when I travel. Yeah.
He's been on the show a couple times, and Bill's terrific. Absolutely. And it worked out. I mean, StarTac, you had StarTac who obviously went to the Kentucky Derby. You had some other nice horses for Paulson, right?
I had StarTac. He won the Generous, and he won some stakes, and he won the Secretary of Arlington. Right. I trained Astra. She won 2 Grade 1s. And I won like 20 stakes in 2 years. It was a good run.
There's a race named for Astra in California.
Right.
And the horse had run in it, and Greg Wolf, who worked with you and, of course, works with us on the show, he called it the Astral. Or like, because it said Astra 2. It was like afterwards. And a friend of mine texted me and said, boy, Simon would be really happy to hear that Greg's mispronouncing the name of a horse that he trained that won a Grade 1. So you have to remind Greg about that when you see him. And Greg's obviously great to work with. You worked with TVG. So did you make like a sudden transition from training to working on television?
No, I had a public stable for a while, but in California at that time, back in 2004, the insurance rates for trainers became out of control, and that's basically what initially forced me out of the business. My workman's comp rates went from, I think it was $70,000 to $140,000 a year in 1 year, and I didn't quite have I had some good clients, but they were sending me their third tier horses, their third tier horses, which was that's hard to manage in California,
especially at $140,000 a year.
It was good. I call them sympathy, and big clients that they move their lower tier horses around. We'll send you one. And
they say they'll send you one. It's
exactly. If every young trainer is promised,
we'll have a drink sometime.
Exactly. And then I started doing some things for TVG. Just they mic'd me up for a 2-week thing. They did a special and followed me around, and that's how I got into it, really.
And you've been with them for a long time now. I mean, how long have you been?
Since 2004.
And how's that?
It's good. It's been through a lot of changes along the way, management changes, but yeah.
But a lot of the people you work with, Todd Schrupp's been there a long time.
He's been there since the start. There's a few guys. Mike Joyce, Dave Weaver, been there since the start.
Mike and you are you brother-in-law? You're married to sisters.
Yes,
does that make you brother-in-law?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
I'm kidding. I love Mike.
He's lucky.
He's he's really the funniest guy ever.
Right.
Yeah. He does a good impersonation of Frank Lyons, by the way, which I'm sure you've heard a few times.
Yeah.
And obviously Paul LaDuca is working with me now, who left you guys, and you guys had fun.
I trained for him.
You trained for Paul?
I trained for Paul when he was playing for the Dodgers.
Really?
I got him the job at TVG actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they blame you for that?
Yeah, they do.
We're kidding. We love Paul. So just with TVG, mostly now, you travel. You're at Del Mar, but your wife's family has a house in Del Mar, correct?
Yeah, we have a place in Del Mar. Yeah, or my wife's family does. So I'm lucky to have access to that. And then I travel. Of course, when I was sick the last couple of years, I didn't travel much at all. But I got the go-ahead middle of last year where I could fly.
Go to Keeneland?
Yeah, back to Dubai. I was in Dubai earlier this year.
Yeah, how was that?
It was great. I've done it a couple of times. I did it on our Fox show.
Oh, right. Yeah, you were our correspondent.
Yeah,
Better
exactly.
you than me.
Yeah.
I was always deathly afraid of having to go over to Dubai.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I know. I'm just afraid of the flight. I didn't really want to go. So now, when we worked on Fox together, it's funny. Simon we worked together in Fox, and we had auditions,
right?
Which you weren't a part of at all. And then I get a call, and we finally hear I got the gig, and I would be working with you. How did that happen?
I don't know. I didn't get an audition. I didn't have to audition.
Need one, yeah, that was. I'm sure that went over well with some of your coworkers.
Yeah, I did.
In working together at Fox, what was the second crazy? We had a producer named Tim Terrell, who we both like a lot. Tim is crazier than I am, and Tim and I had a huge fight one day at Keeneland. I was, of course, against American Pharaoh.
Right.
Genius that I am. And what did I give him? 5-1. Well, I mean, it was like April, and he took 5-1 that he'd win the Kentucky Derby.
Right.
And I bet it. Yeah.
Yeah, and these two went ballistic. This is about 3 hours before a live show.
Right.
I mean, it was unbelievable to watch.
Poor Alyssa Ali, who's actually really nice and not like me and the rest of us. And she was horrified. Greg Wolf.
She had no idea what was going on.
The rest, Migliori's used to it. He and I would yell at each other, so he got it right away. So it was sort of fun. But we had the Fox series was fun, but it was brief. And of course, you didn't work with us much the second year.
Right, I didn't. Yeah, unfortunately, not much the second year. But yeah, it was brief. I mean, it started off slow. I think it got better towards the end, and I think there was even more room for improvement.
For me, the nicest part was meeting other people in racing. I think it was nice to meet you guys because I hadn't experienced working with any of the guys at TVG. And such.
Exactly. Well, you're locked down in NYRA the whole time. Right. You don't get to travel and see many people. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was nice getting around. I enjoyed that quite a bit, and I'm looking forward to getting back to Keeneland. I think we got to let you go. I think we got to take a break.
No problem.
Simon Bray, we're so glad to have Simon here. He will be here all weekend, right? You're working through Sunday?
Yeah, fly back Monday, and then that's it.
Who do you like in Travers? You got an opinion? You like anybody all day long you want to leave us with before you leave?
Well, look, I loved Good Samaritan last time out, so I can't jump off that bandwagon now.
You're back on it? Why'd you like him?
Why did I like him?
Besides being Bill Mott.
Well, I mean, look, we all due respect to Bill, if that horse was in Baffert's barn, he would never have seen the turf with that pedigree. He's by Harlan's Holiday out of Pulpit. I mean, I just thought he was crying out for that. And he didn't have that explosive turn of foot that a turf horse has. He had that grind.
He's a grinder, I agree.
And I think that plays well on the dirt and with his pedigree.
He's one of the ones that can win it, no doubt. Simon, thanks so much for joining us. Simon Bray.
Thanks.
Stay with us. We come right back. At the Post Live is brought to you by Belmont Child Care Association. Support the BCCA by making quality child care and education available for the working families of